Boy Who Cried Wolf was a story that was told to me when I was under 6 years old. And it was told to me in the context that if I said something that wasn't true, whether I was intentionally lying or I thought it was just some funny joke that I was telling that wasn't true, but it was in the category of telling just a joke, then eventually sometime might come when I was telling something that I needed people to believe me about. And like in the case of the Boy Who Cried Wolf, they wouldn't trust me. And now as a father, I've been reflecting on that story as of late and realizing that there's an inverted form of it, which is when my children consistently exercise a new bad habit or are experiencing with a new type of pressing of boundaries, shall we say, when they're wide awake, when they're fully fed, fully rested, healthy, and when everything is going peaceful in their lives. Then, when that time comes when they are tired or hungry or sick or there's something very overwhelming or emotionally traumatizing going on that they are aware of in their own life or in a close friend's life that is causing them to feel overwhelmed, and as which, when those four dynamics are at play, which would cause me to not discipline them, if it's something that they're doing that they're already doing, however, on the regular, when they are doing well in all other cases, it's a lot harder for me to remember, oh, one of these four dynamics is at play. I'm going to hold off on disciplining them for the time being. I'll correct them. I'm not going to tolerate the nonsense. I'll correct them so they can learn, but I'm not going to actually discipline them. I'm going to limit it to calmly, this needs to stop, or you're going to go to your room and stay there until you can behave, or you're going to go to your bed and stay there until you can behave, or this needs to stop, you're going to eat this, and I'll stick to those things, and I won't actually do something in regards to you losing this privilege or you're having this time out. I keep it strictly in that correction boundary, and it's very hard for me to do it, significantly harder when it's something that they're already doing a lot when they're fine. Recently, one of my boys who's been experimenting with whining all of a sudden and quite regularly, whether it's a case where his sibling is annoying him or whether he doesn't get an answer he wants. Because he does it so much on the regular when he's totally well cared for and feeling well and isn't lacking in sleep or anything else of that nature. When he does it when he is feeling stressed by being tired or being hungry, it's a lot more challenging for me to take a deep breath and say, oh, one of these four dynamics are at play. Okay, I'm going to tone down my response accordingly. And it's harder to do because I'm already dealing with that type of behavior so much in the regular. And so that Boy Who Cried Wolf story comes to mind. And I have to prepare myself to conscientiously mean to be, choose to be, and seek to be that patient father that I want to be, even when it really is a monumental task. And then there's the fifth dynamic, which has recently come to mind, which is also recently at play, which is when the children are in a completely foreign environment. And this came to mind because we were recently on a trip, and I was trying to figure out the boys' behavior. They were well fed, they were, got enough sleep, but when it ultimately came down to it, I realized we were on this road trip, and whereas they usually have a daily schedule, that was all out of whack. And so it was showing itself up in their behavior. They were still doing their best to listen, but it was impacting them the same way that I would expect that being tired or hungry would impact them. When they weren't tired or hungry, it was just a drastic change in their environment. And it caused me to look back at my own childhood and reflect on several times in particular, even when I was an older kid, close to the age of 9, 10, or 11, when being in a sudden, drastically different environment, whether it was because you were traveling to see family or something sudden came up, that would cause me to feel a sense of being overwhelmed, akin to that which I would feel when I was very tired but didn't know I was tired, or when I was very hungry but didn't yet realize I was hungry. And that's been my two key meditations and takeaways on fatherhood as these past few days, which is remember the boy who cried wolf, and remember that it's understandably more difficult for me to be patient with them if they're misbehaving when they're tired, if the way they're misbehaving is one that they've consistently been doing even when they are awake. And that it takes a renewed sense of consideration and patience to address that accordingly by correcting without disciplining, owing to them being affected by one of those core dynamics. And the fifth dynamic to take into consideration, which is if we're in a drastically new environment, are they being impacted as such that they will not be able to emotionally comprehend or be in a position in which they can be disciplined and learn. I want to discipline my children. I want them to learn how to be functioning members of society. And even at a young age, how to behave in a way in which people like to be around them. And I also want to make sure that I'm doing it in such a way that they can take those corrections by taking in these four and sometimes a fifth dynamic before I decide whether I'm going to actually discipline them or just correct them until that dynamic is been addressed. Thank you.